Hello, welcome to video 2. I am Priestess LAMEEL'S, and today we are here to talk about what rising up actually looks like. I want you to get your journal out because as this free series, there will not be homework, right? Okay. So with the free series, there won't be homework. When this becomes paid content, there's going to be like a shit ton of journaling prompts, assignments, and affirmations. And I may even do something that if you've enrolled in the free one, you can get the paid content with, there'll always be a couple of extra videos and all of the homework and prompts and journaling. You can get that at a discount, okay? But when this comes out, who fucking knows? So today, we are here to talk about what rising up looks like. And so what rising up looks like is going to be different for everybody. But it is very, very important that you define for you what is that, right? Because some people are working a 9 to 5 and they just want to live in a small, have a small carbon footprint, and this pandemic has caused them to want to be self-sustaining, and they want to have a compost, and they want to garden, and they want to meditate and whatever. And that is their rising up. That is them being authentically them, true to them. And that is what rising the fuck up is. It is about being 100% authentically you. Unapologetic, the untamed, unapologetic version of you is your rising up. This came from the past few years. I have worked with women that were like wild women in terms of anger, right? They had been so hurt, so scorned, so whatever, and getting them to a place of peace was important so that they could focus and they could manifest. But the truth is that wildness and that untamedness was still authentically them. It was simply misdirected in the anger. So if you have always had this life where people are like, oh, you're kind of wild, oh, you should tone that down a little bit. If you were like me, since I was a little girl, I have a shit ton of history of adult women, older women, mentors, and family members and family friends telling me to tone me down, right? I attract these men, and then it's like, oh, now I've got you, tone it down, right? I was married and had developed this kick-ass business, and I was being featured in the newspapers and locally once again, and then he was like, no, you've got to tone this down because we need you as a mother, right? Like, I had to be either or. I could only be more mom than I could be me. And the truth is, my unapologetic, wild, and untamedness may be greater than yours, but it doesn't mean that it needs to be tamed. It doesn't mean that it's not okay for me to be wild. It doesn't mean like what you want, you can't go after. What are you? Who are you when you give no fucks, right? When you are going after your true desire? Who are you when pleasing you is the priority? Who are you when you are absolutely at your happiest? Who are you? Not who are you for your kids, who are you for your spouse or your lover, who are you for your parents, who are you for your brother and sister because maybe you're the oldest or what have you. Fuck all of that. Who are you? And some people are going to answer this question with, I don't know who I am. And I remember that. After my second divorce, like, I didn't even know my fucking favorite color. Like, I kind of knew, but I was so fucked up mentally over all the shit that had happened, that had happened to me, that had happened to my kids, that it was like, is that really my favorite color? Or, like, did I just pick that up because it was more acceptable for him? It was more acceptable for my kids. Like, you may not know in this moment all the answers to these questions that I'm sharing with you, but the point is, this is what you journal about, right? Who am I? Who am I when I'm fucking wild? Who am I when nobody's trying to fucking tame me? And does that mean that when I'm wild and untamed and unapologetic that I can't be in a monogamous relationship? No, because honestly, that is who I am. But some of you may be wild and untamed and need many lovers. And if that is who you are, that is who you have to be true to. Some of you would like either or. And if you can do either or, then you take and you embrace what is for you, right? Some of you may live your first half of your life with multiple lovers and then settle down with one. It doesn't matter. Some of y'all may be sister wives. Like, whatever it is for you, it is for you, right? It's not a one size fits all. Being authentic, being and stepping in to who you are is about you. It's about what you want, what makes you happy, what are your desires. These are all the things that you really need to take some time and write out. Like, if you didn't have to consider anybody ever, what the fuck would you be doing? What do you want to do? Where would you go? Who would you be? How would you fucking dress? What would you eat? You see, we can't go further into how to be and elevate and manifest, and because manifestation is really about getting really clear on what you want. And so some of you have had trouble manifesting because you don't really know what you want, because you don't really know who you are, and you don't even know if what you want is acceptable to the people around you because you are not being authentically you, right? So I have a friend who would love to live in her car and drive across country, or an RV, because that would be more comfortable. But now, because of YouTube, it is becoming a little more acceptable. But because she's a mom, people are like, oh, you want to do what? Why would you ever? Fuck them. Do you, right? There is still a way for you to be a mom and live up to your responsibilities. But it doesn't mean that you have to quiet your desires. It doesn't mean that you don't get to be who it is that you are. It doesn't, you may have to do some version of that now and a bigger version later because you made the choice to have children and they have to be a certain age before you feel comfortable. Not what the fuck everybody else thinks and feels, right? This is about you. I got a friend who can't stand kids, right? But that's who she is. It becomes harder. So we think to, in society to date men without children or with adult children that you never have to fuck with. But it can happen for her. She doesn't want to deal, that's not her thing. And that's okay. A lot of men, more specifically than women, but a lot of women who are moms feel like, you have a baby and you become a mother. Like, birthing the child brings on these motherly instincts, and it doesn't. It doesn't make you feel like a mother if that is not who you are, right? And then you have the kids who are like, why are you not like other mothers? Because I'm just not. But if you have cross purpose and cross feelings about how you mother, right? Then some fucking stranger can go, why the fuck are you cussing in front of those kids? Move on. This isn't for you. And you have to be okay with that. Everything is not for everybody. And you have to know that you are not for everybody. And that is going to include some of the people that are in your life right now. When you step into who you are and you become you and you live you and you embody who you are unapologetically, wildly, untamed, and free, people are going to drop the fuck off. Right? But they're making room for your supporters, for your cheerlead squad. They're making room for your tribe. So just because you may lose, and in a way, you're not really losing, because while they're here, you've learned a lesson. You learn a lesson about you learn lessons about them, and not everybody is supposed to be in your life forever. So you need to be okay with that in your leveling up process. And I got really, really passionate about it because I lived very much the opposite of what I'm telling you. That's why I know what it's like to be free and to kind of like fuck everybody. That is that aha moment of what the fuck have I been doing? Why do I care? Right? The less you care about, and a lot of the things that stressed me was not so much because I don't know that it was that I cared, it was that I believed them. That it was more that I believed them than I cared, right? So somebody could say to me, oh, you're a bad mother. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I am, right? Now, you can fucking tell me I'm a bad mother. I don't give two fucks. I know what kind of mother I am, and I'm really not trying to live up to your standards of motherhood. I mean, I don't even meet the everyday standards of motherhood. And in some areas of society's motherhood, I super fucking seed that shit. Like leaps and bounds, okay? But the point is, I don't care if you see it or not. I don't care if you only see it in this area and not that area. I'm doing me. I can only be the mother that I am. I'm not trying to be the women on TV. I'm not trying to be all these chicks in, what is it now, TikTok, that, fuck all that. Like, that's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? My kids did what they wanted to do. I tried the brownie and the Girl Scout mom and the cheerleading mom, and we went to cheerlead. We did, like, my kids did it, but they did it with this mom, not with the cookie cutter moms who were popping the pills. To fuck all of that. And even though at times in my life I've never really fit in those scenarios, I still she's trying to get to me. I still cared, right? I still believed them. Like, if I wasn't there and I wasn't present and I didn't participate, go back, and I didn't participate, then I wasn't a good mom, right? I still have times when, you know, someone very dear to my heart will tell me, you're okay, Mom. And that used to bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore because I give no fucks. I don't believe you. I know what kind of mom I am, right? So if somebody comes to you and is like, I fucking hate your red hair, and you have black hair, you don't care. You don't even believe them because you know that your hair is not fucking red, right? So when somebody says you're a bad mom, you only get disturbed because you believe part of what they're saying, or you're unsure about how good you are as a mother. So, pause. Aaliyah, you need to help pay more attention. Come get her and fucking wipe her up, her hands and her feet. I think, and put some baby wipes down. I think the fucking cat had to just come over here and piss. Where would this water come from?
I don't know. Stop.
Right? So you have to stop believing what other people think about you. And the way that you stop believing them is that you know who you are, right? And you love who you are. You respect who you are. And that is the first stage of rising the fuck up, of leveling up your fucking life, is loving you, knowing you, being proud of you, being and doing you. So for the next couple of days, that's what I want you to be journaling about. Like, who are you? What do you want? What do you love? What would you say if you felt like there was no fucking consequences? What would you say to the people in your life? What are the things that you're holding on to that you need to unbox and give the fuck back to the people who told you that? Like, at one point, I was struggling heavily, and if you follow me and you know my story and you know, like, when I was living in hotels and all that kind of crazy shit, somebody said to me, put your kids up for, put your kids in foster care. Clearly that person didn't know me as well as they thought they did. Or they never would have said that. But here's the thing, there was no way for that person to really know me because I was not living as my authentic self. I was not being my authentic living at my authentic life. I was not being my authentic self. I was not saying my authentic truth. Right? So there was no, my goddess energy was dormant. And yes, this series is clearly more geared towards women, but all of you women lovers, goddess supporters, the message is there for you as well. Truly, I can only speak from my point of view. So that's what I'm doing. But the message is same. Male energy, female energy, regardless. Rising the fuck up is knowing who you are, right? And the way that you determine where you need to go, what type of leveling up you need to do, is from the base of who you are. So once you figure out, like, this is who I am, this is what I love, this is what I do, this is my truth, not the truth your parents and your grandparents and your whatever have told you. What is your truth? When you figure out that authentically me is this, and you may find from that journaling that it is 100% different from how you present yourself to the world, and that's okay. This process is not about you beating up on yourself like, I haven't done this and I could have. No, that's not what this is about right now. This is about you discovering, okay, I'm about 80% off. I'm 60% off. I'm 100% off. Because that's where I was. I didn't even look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to see pictures back, it would be like, who the fuck? What? And so there was a time when I looked like me, and I felt dead inside. And then eventually that dead inside grew to where how I physically looked didn't even look like me. So I've been 100% not my authentic self. And if I can come back from that with all of the life challenges and the kids and the all of that, I know you can do it too. Because I'm just a chick who figured it out. And now I'm about to spell it out. So you don't have to figure it, you just have to do it. Right? This is all about you deciding that you want to grow. And the fact that you're here, the fact that you're watching this, the fact that you are attracted to what it is that led you here says you're in the right place. I don't believe in accidents. Now, how you keep up with this is all, and with this I mean this series of videos is all about where you are in the energy of change, where you are in being ready, right? You may watch this video about what rising up looks like and discover that, you know what, I am not my authentic self and I need to do a lot more. And you may not be ready to do that more. And you may not watch any more videos. But the what do they call it? The spark has been lit, and perhaps it takes you a month to get through who am I authentically. Some of you are going to go, I'm not my authentic self. You're going to write 20 fucking pages of who you are authentically, and then you're going to be back here tomorrow to figure out, what do I need to do to fucking implement this? How do I make these changes? And I hope that you do come back. And I am very excited, and I'm really proud of you for showing up and making it this far, right? Because this is about your journey at your pace. Nobody can determine that for you. This may be all that you came for. If you're ready to go and you figure out, like, I've got some changes because I am not authentically me. I'm not living that. And maybe you are living authentically you with your friends, but not with your spouse. Maybe you live your authentic life, but not with your parents. You see what I'm saying? So it could be any combination. But clarifying that is the first step, because that is what leveling up looks like. It looks like you living, your fucking best life. And you can't live your best life if you are not authentically you. If you are not unapologetically you. I did not teach my children to say please when they were growing up, because it's like it was in the posture. Adults put kids in the posture of begging. Please, can I have it? Please, can I have it? And everything that they did, other people I saw raising kids always made their kids tell other kids or adults that they were sorry. And I'm going to end this training with this scenario. First, let me finish that up by saying, so my kids don't say like, oh, please, can I have it? May I have some? Thank you. You know what I'm saying? But there's no begging involved. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it's your fucking birthright to want what you want. You are inherently worthy of whatever the fuck you have ever wanted. Now, the circumstances may not have lined up for you in that moment or whatever, but it is okay to want what you want. And you don't have to beg anybody for it, because if you can line the fuck up for it, whether you're 2 days old or 200 years old, universe is going to deliver it to you through whomever. And for kids, that usually does come through their parents, but it doesn't always have to. So because I inherently, that is like one of my core beliefs, right? That begging thing, I don't do. And I don't do it with my grandkids either. So, the thing about being apologetic. So this is the lesson that I learned that took me almost 40 years to unlearn. My grandfather, on my mother's side, was, from my perspective as a child, kind of an ornery man. I was aware that he did some really shitty stuff to my grandma. He was a very absentee, asshole-ish kind of a dad to my mom and her siblings. And nothing about his energy made me feel good. And one day he hugged me in front of my mother and he told me that he loved me. And I promise you I was not yet 10 because I moved from California when I was 10. So I was probably 7, and I wouldn't say it back. And my mother was upset. I don't know if it was embarrassment or whatever it was, but she was very upset with me, and she was like, tell your grandfather you love him. And I was like, I actually got a physical butt whooping that day for not telling him that I loved him. And I genuinely did not. That lesson took me 40 years to unlearn. And the lesson that I got wasn't that, so the lesson that I got was, it was more important to make other people feel good than to be and live my truth. And I was 7 years old. Didn't matter that I didn't love him. Didn't matter that I didn't feel love from him. It didn't matter that I didn't like the way he treated me when my mother was not around. None of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was making him feel good. And that shit played out in my life over and over in bigger and bigger ways, more specifically with men, right? And it taught me to be very tamed, to be very apologetic, to lie, to go out of my way to please others, regardless of how it did not make me feel good. My feeling good and my truth was not important in relationships. Was that my mother's intention? Absolutely not. But I bought it because I got my ass whooped, and I promise you, that was probably the other reason it stuck is that's probably the only fucking time I can remember as a child getting spanked. So it had a huge impact on me. And your truth, your truth, your authentic self, your feelings, your worth, all of that is going to always be and is always more important than how someone else feels about it. And the truth is, had he been made to deal with my truth, perhaps he would have changed his behavior if he had wanted my love and affection as a child, right? But instead, him and his behavior was protected, and I bought this lie that felt horrible that I carried for decades. So it's okay if you've been living with shit for a long time. It's okay if the beliefs that don't feel good have come from your family. It is okay if your family is highly religious and you're not. It is okay if you believe in some of the religious-based things that you've been taught, but not all of them. It is okay to explore new things for you, even if they are outside of what your family has told you for 40 fucking years what is okay for you, right? You need to dig deep, because this is where you discover who you are, what you want. You have to know that so that you can be authentic for you. So, that's all that I have for you guys today, which seems like it is fucking totally timely since my granddaughter is having a meltdown upstairs. I don't think I've ever shared that story with anybody about my grandfather and being spanked. But somebody needs to hear that, and I'm glad that it came through me for you. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for being here. I love you, and I'll see you in the next training.